one of the iconic guitar riffs of the hair metal genre. If 10 seconds is what it's saying about Vince's sexual escapades, I probably wouldn't go bragging about it. Jesus Christ, pardon my language. The song just makes me want to crush 10 beers and run around the block naked. Just gets me right here. It's a 10. Another one of those Mick Mars riffs that just dives right into your soul. And I like those dirty, gravelly vocals, though in the beginning is a little fucking cheesy. They're not shouting with the devil, they're shouting at the devil. It's really a Mick Mars record. In this episode of Hair Metal Heavyweights, we have the 4 times platinum Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue versus the 3 times platinum Out of the Cellar from Ratt. It's a head-to-head showdown. Who do you think's gonna come out on top of the next hair metal heavyweight battle? I came here to do 2 things: chew bubblegum and talk hair metal, and it looks like I'm almost out of bubblegum. Last week, we had Pyromania from Def Leppard take the title away from Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet. In this week's episode, we're featuring 2 of my favorite bands and 2 of the biggest bands of the hair metal genre, Motley Crue versus Ratt. We're going to be discussing Motley Crue's second album, Shout at the Devil, versus Ratt's eponymous debut, Out of the Cellar. While Motley Crue has no doubt been labeled as the originators of the hair metal genre, Ratt wasn't far behind. Motley's first album, Too Fast for Love, came out in 1981, but today we're talking about their second album, Shout at the Devil, which was released in September of 1983. It went 4 times platinum and is oftentimes talked about as one of the best albums of the hair metal genre. Ratt's debut, Out of the Cellar, came out in February of 1984, has gone 3 times platinum, and is easily the best album of their career. But will it have enough in the tank to take down Shout at the Devil from Motley Crue? Wait and see. Hey, if you like this kind of content, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button and possibly give this video a like. Also, follow my Twitter channel at Hair Metal Guru, where, in fact, the other day I put up a poll amongst my followers to see how they would vote, Shout at the Devil or Out of the Cellar. Well, Shout at the Devil won handily by a 65 to 35% tally. So if you've seen my videos before, you know how these rankings go. I'm going to rate each song from each album on a scale of 1 to 10. A 10 meaning something that I still love to listen to and still listen to frequently. Songs that get into an 8 mean that I loved them back in the day and still like them, but maybe, don't always seek it out. Things that get into the 5 and lower are filler and everything in between. So this time, when I finish, I am going to add up the totals, and we're going to average each song from the album, and that's going to determine the winner. Okay, we're going to start off with Shout at the Devil from Motley Crue. Now, I'm not going to rate songs like In the Beginning because it's just a filler introduction, so I'm not going to count those as original songs, though In the Beginning is a little fucking cheesy. So we're going to say that the first song that I'm going to rate is Shout at the Devil. And that opening guitar riff lets you know that it's really a Mick Mars record, because the guitar riffs on this album just dominate the headlines in my opinion. Now, Vince gives maybe his best performance vocally on any album, but I'll be honest, Vince is never the reason that I listen to Motley Crue. For what he does, it's fine, but Vince is not a singer's singer. But Mick on this album is amazing, and it starts with Shout at the Devil. Now, for all you people who thought that Motley Crue were devil worshipping Satanists, they're not shouting with the devil, they're shouting at the devil. It's a 10 out of 10. Song number one off Out of the Cellar is Wanted Man, and you can just tell that it's Warren DeMartini versus Mick Mars, and that's not to discount King Crosby, but everyone knows that Warren was the force behind the Ratt songs with his guitar riffs, and such an awesome guitar riff. I'm not going to give Wanted Man a 10 out of 10 because there are some points where you're like, it kicks in at the chorus, but some of those slower moments of the song, but still an amazing song. I have to give it a 9. So we've already had a 10 for Motley Crue, a 9 for Ratt. Let's move on to song 2. Second song on Shout at the Devil is Looks That Kill, and man, I mean, maybe my favorite Motley Crue song of all time. Again, that opening guitar riff and Tommy's drum beat just make me want to jump around, and you can't listen to that intro without tapping your foot. It's another 10 out of 10. The second song on Out of the Cellar is You're in Trouble, and it starts off with this really cool kind of bass-driven introduction. Warren's guitars are holding off, but Blotzer's drums are filling in the spaces, and then all of a sudden, boom, here comes that guitar riff. And I sometimes get down on Stephen Pearcy because when you see him live, it's hard for him, in my opinion, to duplicate this stuff live, but I love how his voice sounds on record. It's so gritty and gravelly, and I love it when vocals are just clean. I like those dirty, gravelly vocals, and he's got it in spades. I got to give this a 10 out of 10. The next song we're rating from Shout at the Devil is Bastard, and I don't know if Bastard gets a lot of credit in hair metal circles, but it's got a great guitar riff. It's got it really bounces. You can tell like Tommy Lee really is a really good rock drummer, because a lot of these songs you can't just help but tap your feet along to them and bounce with them. If there is one downside to Bastard, it's some of the background vocals that try to harmonize along with Vince. Sometimes they sound just a little off, but the rest of the song rocks. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Okay, the third song from Ratt is Round and Round, and hey, if Shout at the Devil is one of the songs that epitomizes the hair metal genre, then Ratt's stab at that title is Round and Round. One of the iconic guitar riffs of the hair metal genre. That chorus just sticks in your head. Everything about this song is catchy. If there's anything wrong with Round and Round, it's just that it's overplayed, but easily a 10 out of 10 in anybody's book. Okay, before we get to the next song on Shout at the Devil, we got God Bless the Children of the Beast. And if there's anything that would make Motley Crue lose this thing to Ratt, and if there's something that could push Shout at the Devil below Out of the Cellar, it's these stupid fucking song introductions. Both of them are pretty pointless. And I get it. Back in the 80s, this is cool, but now they're just so cheesy that God bless the children of... Oh. So once you get past that, we have Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter, for those of you that don't know, is actually a cover of a Beatles song, but Motley Crue really makes it their own. And I like covers that I like covers that stray away from what the original does, and that's what Motley Crue does with Helter Skelter. They really, own it. You would never know this is a Beatles cover. I don't think it's a 10, because there are some parts where, but it's still in that 9 range. So I'm gonna give it a 9. In Your Direction from Out of the Cellar is next, and damn, every guitar riff on this album is just heavy and catchy, and that's so difficult to do. Usually, you really like an album if they have like 4 songs that have really catchy guitar riffs, because there's always some filler. but not on this album. So In Your Direction, great guitar riff, and I really love Steven's vocals on this. I'm actually surprised at how much I like this song, because in going back to review it, I thought this was something that was going to get a little bit lower score, but it's definitely a 9. Red Hot from the Crue is next, and why do I keep hearing Twisted Sister and Red Hot? This sounds like something that would have fit on Under the Blade from Twisted Sister. So I really like Red Hot. I think the chorus maybe isn't quite as good as the verses. So for that reason, I'm going to knock a point off, but I still think it's a 9. She Wants Money is the next song from Ratt, and I love the verses. Steven's voice, just that growl, and it's just catchy and great guitar. But the chorus doesn't quite match up with the power of the verses, and for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8. Too Young to Fall in Love is next, and this is another one of those iconic songs in the Motley Crue discography, and it's got another one of those Mick Mars riffs that just dives right into your soul. But the chorus, I love this song, and I loved it when I was younger, but now I feel like the chorus is missing something. So because it's so iconic, I feel like I have to give it, it's got to be above an 8, but I can't give it a 10, so 9. Lack of Communication is next on Out of the Cellar, and this might be my favorite song on the album. From that killer guitar riff to, I love those gang vocals, those kind of deeper gang vocals that you get in the chorus, with the band shouting back to Steven, lack of. Oh my gosh, it just gets me right here. It's a 10. Knock 'Em Dead Kid is the next song off Shout at the Devil, and this is one of my favorite Motley Crue songs of all time. I love that chorus. I love Mick's opening guitar riff. Vince sounds great in this song. It just, I've always said this before, I don't drink anymore, but damn, this song just makes me want to crush 10 beers and run around the block naked. So it's a 10. Back for More starts off with this cool little acoustic intro before that guitar riff just slams your skull, and one of the catchiest songs on the album, and it's a 10. 10 Seconds to Love from Motley is next, and it's got another one of those iconic guitar riffs, probably one of the most famous songs in Motley Crue's catalog, and for good reason. I love 10 Seconds to Love, though if 10 seconds is what it's saying about Vince's sexual escapades, I probably wouldn't go bragging about it. Maybe he should have said 10 Minutes to Love, but whatever, it's a 10. Up next is The Morning After from Ratt, and it's got this awesome guitar intro, and I love the verses. Vince, Steven sounds awesome in the verses, but I'm going to dock a point for the chorus not quite matching up to the power of the verses, so I give it a 9. The last song on Shout at the Devil is Danger, and it's the closest thing you're going to get to a ballad. It's not a ballad, but it has a really slow acoustic intro, and, it's talking about the danger of living in Los Angeles, but I'll be honest, it's the weakest song on the album. I very rarely play it. I could see where people would like it. It's for 1983 and talking about the evils of the city. I can see where the topic, was relevant, but I don't get into it now. I'm going to give it a 7. So we have 2 songs left from Ratt, and we're done with Motley Crue. So let's get those 2 out of the way. First, we got I'm Insane. Again, what can you say about every song on this album? The guitar work on this album is so phenomenal. I love the intro to I'm Insane. I love Steven's vocals. His vocals kind of bounce against that guitar riff, and they just make it so super catchy. And I feel I almost want to give it a 10, but I'm gonna go short, and I'm gonna give I'm Insane a 9. And the last song on Out of the Cellar is Scene of the Crime. Again, awesome guitar work. And no matter what you think of Steven's vocals, they are amazing on this album. And I could give this song a 10. I think I'm going to give it a 9, but on the right day a 10. So that's where we're going to finish up. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the rankings. So without knowing the totals, it's got to be insanely close. So I'm going to take a second and add those up and come back and I'll give you the averages.
A few moments later.
Okay, I know I'm about to get a ton of shit for this, but Motley Crue Shout at the Devil had 4 songs that were 10 out of 10. It had 3 songs that were 9s, 1 song that was an 8, and 1 song that was a 7. Take those scores and divide them up, and the average score is 9.11. Okay. Ratt had 4 songs that were 10s, 5 songs that were 9s, and 1 song that was an 8. The average score for Ratt was 9.3. That means that the winner of the hair metal heavyweight between Out of the Cellar and Shout at the Devil is shockingly Ratt's Out of the Cellar. And I know that my followers on Twitter are going to crucify me for this, and I get it. Maybe if I give Danger, the last song, is that the last song? On Shout at the Devil, an 8, the winners change. I gave it a 7. I gave an honest answer. So, regardless, it's all in fun. Why do I do this? Hey, because I love both of these albums. And honestly, I'm as shocked as anybody because I suspected that Shout at the Devil would win. Regardless, it was a lot of fun doing this. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, subscribe to the channel. That'd be great. Give the video a like if you like this sort of content. If not, fuck you. It's okay. I'm just kidding. Either way, go back and listen to Shout at the Devil. Go give Out of the Cellar another spin. And let me know what you think. Where did I get it wrong? Which rankings do you agree with? And which rankings do you think I'm full of shit about? Hey, either way, it was a great time. Until next week when I release episode number 9, this is Anthony from the Hair Metal Haven. Take care.